In the frozen depths of Siberia, Alaska, and northern Europe, the permafrost has become nature's time capsule, preserving a world long vanished beneath layers of ice. Beneath the frozen soil lie the bodies of creatures that once roamed the earth tens of thousands of years ago, from towering mammoths to tiny hibernating squirrels, each frozen in a moment of life, as if time itself had paused. These frozen relics are more than just bones. They are fully intact, sometimes with fur, muscles, and even stomach contents preserved, offering an unprecedented window into the lives, behaviours, and environments of Ice Age animals. Today, we journey into this icy archive to uncover the prehistoric creatures discovered frozen in ice, exploring their anatomy, survival strategies, and the fascinating stories they tell about a world dominated by glaciers, predators, and extraordinary adaptation. The woolly mammoth, giant of the frozen steppe, across the desolate, wind-carved wilderness of the Siberian north, where winter refuses to loosen its grip and the horizon stretches into a pale, endless blur. One of the most astonishing discoveries of the 21st century emerged from the melting permafrost. It began with something small, just a patch of coarse brown hair poking through the icy soil, noticed by herders who had crossed this land their entire lives. At first, it resembled a tangle of roots or a clump of dead vegetation, but as the ice continued to soften under the brief Arctic summer, more details surfaced. The unmistakable curve of ivory, the sloping dome of a skull, and the sagging folds of ancient skin preserved so perfectly that each wrinkle seemed carved only yesterday. What the hunters had stumbled upon was no ordinary relic. This was a complete woolly mammoth, frozen, intact, and waiting quietly beneath the earth for nearly 40,000 years. The mammoth lay on its side, as though it had simply laid down to rest. Its fur, preserved in thick layers, still ranged from deep chocolate brown to pale golden hues, exactly as it once did when these creatures roamed the mammoth steppe. The undercoat, soft, insulating, and densely packed, remained attached beneath the longer, coarser guard hairs. When scientists brushed away the frost, the fur lifted gently like the mane of a living animal. Beneath the hide, the creature's muscles were still firm, frozen with the tension of life abruptly halted. Even the scent of the animal lingered faintly in the cold air, a musky, earthy odour that had not been breathed by any living creature since the end of the last ice age. What stunned researchers the most was the condition of the mammoth's internal structures. When carefully thawed under controlled conditions, the flesh revealed layers of subcutaneous fat still tinged with their original yellowish colour, huge energy reserves that kept mammoths alive during brutal winters. The stomach, preserved in situ, contained the last things the giant had eaten: meadow grasses, sedges, and fragments of wildflowers that once bloomed across the frigid plains. These microscopic remnants of Ice Age flora still retained their structure, allowing scientists to peer directly into a moment of this animal's life with impossible clarity. Frozen in the intestines were strands of plant fibre, partially digested, alongside ancient bacteria and intestinal parasites, microorganisms trapped in timeless suspension. The tusks were equally remarkable. Each one recorded the mammoth's life like tree rings, with subtle bands showing seasonal cycles, times of scarcity, times of abundance, migration, stress, and reproductive maturity. The wear patterns along the tusk's surfaces revealed how the animal used them, scraping away snow to reach hidden plants, defending itself against predators, and interacting socially with its herd. These curved ivory arcs were not just tools, they were historical records written in calcium and protein. The mammoth's skull carried signs of powerful muscles that once anchored its trunk, a structure so complex and sensitive that modern elephants can use theirs to lift a single blade of grass or uproot a small tree. Inside the frozen head, scientists found remnants of soft tissue in the brain cavity, collapsed, shrunken, but still identifiable after tens of thousands of years. This allowed researchers to model the mammoth's neurological pathways, revealing that these animals were not slow, lumbering beasts, but intelligent, socially complex mammals capable of communication, cooperation, and emotional memory. Even the mammoth's feet, preserved in exquisite detail, told stories. The thick pads, still pliable when thawed, had evolved to cushion the enormous weight of its body on snow and ice. The toenails, still attached, displayed growth patterns reflecting seasonal changes in movement. The blood vessels, embedded within the foot tissue, showed adaptations for extreme cold narrowing during the winter to reduce heat loss, widening during rare warm spells to allow more circulation. Perhaps the most haunting detail was the mammoth's face. When the frozen eyelid was lifted, it revealed the preserved outline of an eye sunken, darkened, but unmistakably organic. The gentle slope of its jaw, the curvature of its cheek, and the texture of its trunk gave a sense of individuality, as though the animal had been frozen in mid-breath, unaware that it would become one of the greatest paleontological discoveries of all time. This single mammoth allowed scientists to reconstruct not only the animal's biology, but its environment. Pollen grains trapped in its fur revealed the plants that dominated the tundra. Dust particles in the ice around its body showed wind patterns and climate conditions. Even the chemical signatures in its hair gave insight into its migration routes hundreds of miles long and repeated annually, as mammoth herds followed ancient trails carved into the landscape by generations before them. For decades, mammoths were known through bones, isolated tusks, and scattered fragments. But frozen specimens like this changed everything. They provided a direct connection to creatures long extinct, preserved not as fossils, but as bodies, real, tangible beings that once lived, breathed, and walked across the same world we inhabit today. Steppe bison, the titan of the Ice Age plains. In the frozen expanses of Siberia, where the snow stretches endlessly and the wind shapes the land into towering drifts, there lies a treasure hidden beneath the permafrost, an entire species of prehistoric titans that roamed the mammoth steppe long before humans had established villages or even built the first fires. Among the earliest and most astonishing discoveries in this desolate wilderness was the steppe bison, an animal that rivaled the mammoth in both size and presence, yet has long been overshadowed in popular imagination. Unlike their elephantine contemporaries, bison were built for speed and endurance, combining enormous strength with surprising agility, perfectly adapted to the harsh tundra environment. When scientists first uncovered a fully frozen specimen embedded in the ice, it was unlike anything they had ever encountered. The fur thick and matted, the horns curved and still gleaming despite tens of thousands of years, and the musculature of the animal intact, as though it had simply fallen asleep beneath a winter sky, never to awaken. This discovery was more than just a skeleton or a fragment. It was an entire body, frozen mid-life, a living snapshot of a moment long vanished. The steppe bison's coat was a marvel of evolutionary engineering, an insulating layer that blended coarse guard hairs with dense underfur, enabling it to withstand the brutal sub-zero temperatures that swept across the tundra for most of the year. When scientists carefully thawed the bison in specialized cold room laboratories, they discovered the subtle gradations in its fur color, varying from dark brown along its spine to lighter shades along the underbelly, a camouflage strategy that would have allowed it to disappear against the snow-swept plains when predators approached. Even more astonishing was the presence of preserved eyelashes, ear cartilage, and the thick pads of its hooves, which revealed how the animal distributed its weight across icy terrain to prevent sinking or slipping, and how each hoof evolved to endure hundreds of miles of seasonal migration in search of food. The steppe bison's horns told a story all their own. These massive, gracefully curving appendages were not just defensive weapons, they were social instruments, used in contests of dominance, displays of mating strength, and the intricate rituals of herd hierarchy. Close examination revealed wear patterns consistent with both shoving matches with rivals and scraping through snow to uncover frozen roots and grasses. Beneath the horns, the skull itself bore marks of stress and adaptation, showing how these animals absorbed impact while maintaining balance and posture across uneven terrain. Inside the frozen body, the stomach still contained remnants of the last meal, partially chewed grass and moss, preserved with microscopic clarity. Analysis of the stomach contents revealed the exact flora that dominated the mammoth steppe ecosystem during the late Pleistocene, and even trapped pollen grains indicated the seasonal availability of specific plants, giving scientists a direct window into the diet and ecological interactions of these massive herbivores. Beyond physical adaptations, frozen specimens revealed much about the life of steppe bison in ways skeletal remains alone could never convey. Muscle fibers, still attached and discernible under careful examination, showed how these animals moved, how powerful their shoulder and neck muscles were, and how they used these to propel themselves in short bursts of speed to evade predators such as cave lions, wolves, and hyenas. The connective tissues around the legs and spine indicated remarkable resilience, hinting that these bison could endure hours of movement across frozen plains without exhaustion. Even the fossilized traces of parasites within the tissues provided critical insight into the biological pressures that shaped bison populations and herd behaviors, revealing that survival was a constant battle against both predators and disease. The frozen steppe bison became more than just a scientific specimen. It became a symbol of the Ice Age steppe itself, a landscape of immense windswept plains, scattered forests, and snow-drifted valleys, inhabited by a network of predators and prey that lived and died according to the harsh rhythms of a frozen world. The sheer scale of the animal, combined with the perfection of its preservation, allowed researchers to reconstruct its posture, gait, and even infer aspects of social behavior. By comparing multiple frozen specimens found over decades across Siberia, scientists noticed subtle differences in horn shape, fur patterns, and body size, suggesting variations among herds and regional adaptations to local climates. These discoveries painted a complex picture of Ice Age ecology, showing that even the largest and seemingly indestructible creatures were finely tuned to survive in one of Earth's most unforgiving environments. Through the study of frozen steppe bison, we can imagine the frozen plains alive with motion, herds migrating across miles of tundra, stirring clouds of snow with the pounding of hooves, the air thick with frost and the scent of wintergreen plants, predators stalking the edges, testing their skill against these armoured herbivores. Each frozen body preserved in Siberia's ice is a message from this vanished world, telling us not just how the steppe bison looked, but how it lived, how it ate, how it moved, and how it survived the long, bitter winters that defined the Ice Age. Cave lion, the Ice Age predator, far across the frozen Siberian tundra, where rivers vanish beneath sheets of ice and the winds carry a silence that has persisted for millennia, researchers unearthed a discovery that redefined our understanding of Ice Age predators. The frozen remains of a cave lion cub, a young member of a species that once ruled as the apex predator of the Pleistocene world. Unlike mammoths or bison, which are often found as adults, these cubs offered a rare glimpse into the earliest stages of life for a predator whose hunting and social behaviours have long been a mystery. The first specimens were discovered partially buried in permafrost near riverbanks, their small bodies curled as if asleep, fur matted but still richly coloured in tawny gold interspersed with faint charcoal markings. The ice had preserved delicate features, tiny claws, whiskers, and the intricate pads of their feet, capturing the cubs in the very moment of their sudden demise, a moment frozen for tens of thousands of years. The preservation was so complete that scientists could study facial structures, musculature, and even the beginnings of fur patterns that adult lions would carry into maturity. The cubs' eyes, though long closed, were perfectly outlined beneath the skin, revealing the early development of vision adapted for low-light hunting. Their ears, small but sharply pointed, contained cartilage structures identical to those of modern lions, suggesting acute hearing that would later become essential for detecting prey across vast frozen plains. The teeth, some erupted and some still forming beneath the gums, allowed researchers to track developmental stages and understand the cub's transition from nursing to independent feeding. Remarkably, traces of their last meal were found in partially digested stomach contents, providing insight into the diet of cave lion cubs and, by extension, the prey species that thrived alongside them in the mammoth steppe. Frozen tissue revealed far more than physical form. It captured a snapshot of Ice Age, life, and death. Muscle fibers were preserved enough to show the potential strength and agility these cubs would have gained in a few short months, their limbs already developing the sinewy structure necessary for stalking and pouncing on prey. Examination of the skeleton beneath the skin showed signs of rapid growth, a reflection of the high metabolic rates needed for survival in extreme cold, and revealed that the cubs, like modern lions, were likely born into social groups where learning to hunt, communicate, and defend territory was crucial from an early age. Even tiny parasites, embedded in fur and skin, allowed paleontologists to reconstruct the biological pressures faced by cave lion families. Seasonal infestations that shaped grooming behaviour, immune adaptations, and maternal care. Perhaps the most extraordinary revelation came from the fur itself. While most fossilised coats lose pigment over millennia, these cubs retained subtle coloration and striping patterns, hinting at a camouflage system perfectly tuned to the snowy, shrub-scattered landscapes of the Pleistocene. Scientists believe these markings helped cubs remain hidden from predators and competitors while their mothers hunted, a vital evolutionary adaptation for survival. The texture and density of the fur indicated an early insulation system, protecting them against temperatures that could plummet far below freezing, suggesting that Ice Age mammals were far more specialized for extreme climates than previously imagined. The discovery of multiple cubs in the same area suggested the presence of maternal dens or family groups, frozen in the act of survival and tragedy. One cub was found with a forelimb stretched outward as if reaching for its mother. Another curled tightly in a ball, its head tucked beneath a sibling's paw. These frozen positions not only reflected the manner of their deaths, likely sudden flash freezes or burial under collapsing snowbanks, but also provided direct evidence of social behaviour in cave lions, a window into how these apex predators raised and protected their young in a hostile, frigid world. Each tiny body became a data-rich map of anatomy, behaviour, and environmental interaction, allowing scientists to reconstruct hunting strategies, denning behaviours, and early developmental milestones that had previously been left to speculation. Moreover, DNA extracted from these cubs offered an unparalleled view into evolutionary history. Analysis confirmed that cave lions shared a close relationship with modern African and Asiatic lions, yet evolved specific adaptations for extreme cold, including denser coats, larger paws for snow traversal, and metabolic differences, enabling them to hunt megafauna far larger than themselves. By comparing the frozen cubs with adult cave lion skeletons from European caves, researchers could trace growth patterns, musculature development, and even social hierarchy, revealing that these predators, though now extinct, were highly complex, intelligent, and finely tuned to their Ice Age ecosystems. The frozen cave lion cubs became a profound reminder that life in the Ice Age was both delicate and extreme. Every strand of fur, every bone, every microscopic detail preserved in the ice offered insight into a world lost to time, a harsh environment where survival demanded ingenuity, cooperation, and adaptation. To hold one of these cubs, even as a fossilized and frozen remnant, was to touch the living history of predators that once dominated the steppe, whose echoes of movement, play, and vigilance are forever captured in the silent, unyielding ice. Woolly rhinoceros, the Ice Age behemoth. In the frostbitten expanse of the mammoth steppe, where wind-swept plains stretch for hundreds of miles and the horizon dissolves into endless white, the discovery of the woolly rhinoceros frozen in ice represents one of the most dramatic encounters with prehistoric life ever recorded. Unlike the towering mammoths that capture immediate attention, these rhinoceroses carried a formidable presence tempered by a quiet, deliberate power. Their massive bodies, armoured with thick skin and a dense undercoat of woolly hair, allowed them to endure the sub-zero extremes of the Ice Age, and their long curved horns became instruments of survival, social display, and environmental manipulation. When the first frozen specimens were excavated from Siberia's permafrost, researchers were confronted with a creature that had remained suspended in time, its body perfectly preserved, every wrinkle of skin, strand of fur, and fold of muscle frozen in exquisite detail, as if waiting for the world to catch up to it. The woolly rhinoceros, or Coelodonta antiquitatis, was a master of its frozen environment. Its two imposing horns, sometimes exceeding 3 feet in length, were not only defensive weapons against predators, but also vital tools for foraging beneath thick layers of snow. Scientists examining frozen skulls and horn sheaths discovered wear patterns consistent with scraping away ice to reach the frozen grasses beneath, and occasional scratches suggested territorial or mating battles with rivals. The horn's composition, preserved in near-perfect condition, allowed researchers to perform isotopic analyses, revealing the diets and environmental conditions of each individual. The massive skulls, disproportionately large for their bodies, housed an intricate network of sinuses believed to help warm the frigid air before it reached the lungs. A crucial adaptation for survival in a land where winter temperatures could plummet below -50 degrees Fahrenheit. Beneath the coarse outer fur lay a dense undercoat of insulating wool, remarkably intact in frozen specimens. Each strand provided evidence of seasonal adaptation, longer hairs offering protection against the cutting winds, shorter ones preserving body heat close to the skin. Trapped within the fur were tiny ice crystals, remnants of the permafrost that had preserved the rhino's body for tens of thousands of years. Analysis of the skin revealed complex patterns of keratinized tissue and embedded fat deposits that allowed for energy storage and protection against extreme cold, while examination of the muscle fibers showed remarkable preservation, revealing how these animals moved with deliberate strength even across the most treacherous frozen landscapes. The legs, thick and pillar-like, bore footprints that once carried immense weight, supporting a body mass comparable to the largest modern elephants, yet designed for surprising mobility. Inside these frozen bodies, scientists found stomach contents that offered the first real insight into the woolly rhinoceros's diet. Partially digested grasses, mosses, and woody plants provided a snapshot of Pleistocene flora, while microscopic analysis of plant fibers and pollen allowed researchers to reconstruct the steppe ecosystem with extraordinary detail. By comparing multiple frozen specimens across Siberia, subtle variations in stomach contents revealed seasonal dietary shifts and migration patterns, indicating that these rhinos were not static creatures but actively tracked food availability across vast territories. Even parasites and microorganisms trapped within the digestive system illuminated the biological challenges faced by these massive herbivores, from gut bacteria crucial for digestion to parasites that shaped immune adaptations. Perhaps the most fascinating revelations came from studies of horn and skin tissue at the cellular level. Researchers discovered that horn growth was remarkably rapid, suggesting that woolly rhinoceroses invested significant energy into developing these weapons during early life stages. The skin, thick yet flexible, revealed a pattern of collagen and elastin uniquely adapted to protect against predators and environmental hazards. Tiny tears and scars on the hide preserved the history of encounters with predators such as cave lions and human hunters, providing a visual biography of survival against relentless pressures. Even the positioning of fat deposits indicated strategic adaptations for thermoregulation, allowing these behemoths to survive not just the cold, but the seasonal fluctuations that characterized the Pleistocene steppe. The frozen woolly rhinoceros also provided insight into social behavior. Some specimens were found in clusters, suggesting that these animals, while largely solitary, may have congregated in specific feeding grounds or travelled along habitual migration corridors. Footprints and preserved soft tissue implied that males and females might have had seasonal interactions, particularly during mating periods, echoing behaviours observed in modern rhinoceros species. These discoveries allowed scientists to infer social structures, movement patterns, and even the rhythms of life and death in a world far harsher than any human has experienced. To witness a woolly rhinoceros emerging from the ice is to encounter a creature both immense and precise, a testament to evolution's ability to engineer life for extremes. Every frozen specimen serves as a time capsule, revealing not only anatomy and behaviour, but also the environmental and ecological conditions of a vanished world. The woolly rhinoceros, armoured and resolute, represents a pinnacle of adaptation, a silent guardian of the Ice Age steppe, whose preserved bodies continue to teach us about survival, resilience, and the intricate balance of prehistoric life. Foal of the leaner horse, Ice Age youth, preserved in time. Among the many frozen marvels of the Siberian tundra, few discoveries have captured the imagination like the unearthing of a leaner horse foal, a tiny yet exquisitely preserved member of a species that once galloped across the mammoth steppe. Unlike the colossal mammoths, formidable bison, or massive woolly rhinoceroses, this foal exemplified the fragility and delicate beauty of Ice Age life, frozen in a state of innocence and youth for tens of thousands of years. When first excavated from the permafrost, the foal's body lay curled upon the frozen ground, its legs tucked close to the body, the neck stretched gracefully forward, and the small head tilted slightly to one side, as if in sleep. Its delicate hooves, ears, and the soft muzzle remained perfectly intact, and fine strands of coat hair shimmered with subtle shades of brown and auburn, preserved as though the animal had been paused mid-breath by the cold hand of time. The discovery offered researchers a rare glimpse into the earliest stages of equine development in the harsh Ice Age environment. The foal's bones were remarkably intact, allowing detailed study of joint formation, cartilage development, and growth plates, revealing how these animals' skeletal systems were designed to endure the extreme cold while still allowing mobility and growth. The musculature beneath the preserved skin indicated a powerful yet nimble build, suggesting that even at a few weeks old, the foal had the potential for swift movement, an essential trait for survival on the open steppe, where predators such as cave lions, wolves, and hyenas prowled constantly. Microscopic examination of muscle fibers and connective tissue also revealed that these young horses had a metabolism adapted for rapid growth, fueled by the rich nutrients present in their mother's milk and supplemented by early foraging as the foal matured. The foal's coat, preserved in remarkable detail, told its own story of adaptation. Each strand of hair was dense and insulating, perfectly suited to repel cold winds and retain body heat, with subtle variations in length and thickness suggesting seasonal adaptation. Underneath the long guard hairs lay a finer undercoat, which scientists believe allowed the foal to maintain warmth even when separated from its mother during brief periods. The coloration patterns, though faint, provided insight into camouflage and social signaling, helping the young horse remain hidden from predators while learning to navigate the vast, open tundra. Traces of frost and ice crystals embedded in the hair also preserved small plant fragments, dust particles, and microscopic pollen, giving researchers direct evidence of the immediate environment the foal inhabited: grasses, mosses, and flowering plants that carpeted the steppe during the brief, frigid summers. Inside the foal's stomach, partially digested milk remnants and traces of early plant material revealed critical information about diet and weaning practices. Chemical and isotopic analyses of these remains allowed scientists to reconstruct the maternal nutrition patterns and seasonal grazing habits of adult horses, offering insights into herd movement and survival strategies. Even parasites and microorganisms preserved within the digestive system provided a rare opportunity to study disease dynamics and immunity in Ice Age equids, suggesting that these foals were born into a world where both environment and biology presented constant challenges. Equally fascinating was the foal's skull and facial structure. The preserved cartilage, jaw, and teeth indicated early stages of dental development, shedding light on the transition from milk to solid plant matter, while the structure of the nasal passages and sinuses reflected adaptation to frigid, low-humidity air. Researchers could reconstruct respiratory adaptations, understanding how Ice Age horses managed oxygen intake during long migrations across snow-laden plains, and how they coped with frigid temperatures that could otherwise impede survival. Even subtle markings on the skull hinted at interactions with siblings or herd members, suggesting social behaviours that mirrored modern wild horses, including nursing, nuzzling, and early play, essential for learning coordination and social hierarchy. The foal's legs, delicate yet strong, bore marks of growth and development finely tuned for endurance. Each joint, preserved with unprecedented clarity, revealed how young horses balanced stability and flexibility, allowing rapid movement in the snow and across uneven terrain. Tiny abrasions and faint scratches on the hooves and lower legs suggested encounters with frozen vegetation, rough terrain, and perhaps playful interactions with siblings, all frozen in a moment of life, suspended in ice. The limbs also provided direct insight into the biomechanical evolution of Ice Age equids, showing adaptations that allowed young animals to thrive in a world dominated by extreme cold, predators, and scarce food resources. Perhaps the most poignant aspect of the leaner horse foal was its innocence, the sense of fragility and youth captured by the ice. In life, this animal represented hope. the continuation of its species, and the delicate balance of survival in a harsh environment. In death, it became a silent messenger from a vanished world, preserving not only anatomical detail, but also an emotional resonance that connects humans to the living history of the Ice Age. Every hair, every tendon, every tiny organ was a testament to evolution's meticulous craftsmanship and the extraordinary ability of permafrost to safeguard life across tens of thousands of years. Through the foal, scientists gained unparalleled insight into the early development of Ice Age horses, the dynamics of herd survival, and the delicate interplay between predator and prey that shaped every aspect of life on the tundra. Its frozen state allowed reconstruction of not only its biology, but also the environmental conditions, maternal behaviors, and social structures of an entire species. In the vast silence of the tundra, where wind and ice have ruled for millennia, the foal of the leaner horse stands as a symbol of both the fragility and resilience of life, an enduring connection to a world that time itself seemed determined to preserve. Pleistocene wolf, the Ice Age hunter. Across the frozen landscapes of Siberia and the far reaches of the Arctic tundra, where the wind sweeps relentlessly across plains dotted with skeletal remnants of long-extinct megafauna, scientists uncovered one of the most compelling glimpses into predator life of the Ice Age, the Pleistocene wolf, frozen in time with startling clarity. Unlike the modern grey wolf that prowls forests and plains today, the Pleistocene wolf, Canis lupus spelaeus, was a predator built for extreme cold and capable of hunting enormous prey. It was larger, more robust, and more heavily muscled than its modern descendants, with jaws powerful enough to crush bone, yet limbs adapted for running across snow-laden steppe with astonishing endurance. When a frozen specimen was first unearthed, researchers were captivated by its near-perfect preservation. The fur thick and plush, the ears still erect, the eyes seemingly alert beneath the closed lids, and the limbs flexed in a natural, lifelike posture, as if it had merely paused mid-step before time itself intervened. The Pleistocene wolf's fur offered the first visible clue to its adaptations. A dense undercoat insulated the animal against brutal Arctic temperatures, while long, coarse guard hairs provided protection against frost, ice, and the piercing winds of the steppe. The coloration, preserved in shades of grey, brown, and subtle hints of black, suggested camouflage that allowed the wolf to stalk prey across snow, ice, and sparse tundra vegetation. Traces of ice crystals embedded within the fur preserved not only the environmental context, but also tiny remnants of plant material, dust, and microscopic organisms that offer modern scientists a snapshot of the ecological conditions in which the wolf lived. Even minute hairs along the wolf's muzzle, whiskers, and paws were intact, providing unparalleled insight into sensory adaptation for detecting prey and navigating the frozen terrain. Beneath the fur, the musculature and skeletal structure revealed the wolf's predatory power. Long, lean limbs ended in padded paws, ideal for long-distance pursuit across uneven ice and snow, while the spinal column demonstrated both flexibility and strength for sudden bursts of speed. Muscle fibers, preserved in the permafrost, allowed researchers to reconstruct the wolf's gait and hunting strategy, showing a combination of endurance running and explosive ambush tactics. The robust jaw and teeth were equally remarkable. Molars, canines, and incisors were preserved with wear patterns indicating a diet heavily reliant on large megafauna, including bison, horses, and even juvenile mammoths. Microscopic examination of dental structure suggested the presence of cracking and chewing techniques for bone consumption, revealing that Pleistocene wolves were not only hunters but scavengers of remarkable efficiency. The digestive system, partially intact in some specimens, revealed insights into dietary adaptability. Stomach contents preserved in frozen tissue contained fragments of meat, hair, and plant matter, allowing scientists to reconstruct feeding behavior and determine the variety of prey that sustained these wolves. Isotopic analysis revealed seasonal patterns, suggesting that Pleistocene wolves adapted their hunting strategies based on prey availability, migration cycles, and environmental pressures. Tiny parasites found in tissue samples offered additional information about the biological challenges they faced, from intestinal worms to other microscopic organisms that shaped immune responses and survival rates. Perhaps most striking was evidence of social behavior encoded in the fossils. Many Pleistocene wolves were discovered near juvenile animals or in clusters, implying familial packs, cooperative hunting, and denning behavior not unlike modern wolves. Researchers hypothesized that these packs were essential for taking down the enormous herbivores that roamed the tundra, requiring communication, strategy, and social hierarchy. Bone injuries and healed fractures indicated interactions both within packs and with prey, revealing the pressures of Ice Age life on both predator and pack dynamics. Even the preserved positioning of frozen specimens suggested resting postures, likely near dens or hunting grounds, offering subtle yet critical insights into daily routines, territoriality, and predator-prey interactions. Genetic analysis of frozen tissue elevated the Pleistocene wolf to a subject of global significance. DNA comparisons confirmed it as a sister species to modern wolves, but uniquely adapted for extreme cold. Genes associated with fur density, metabolism, and cardiovascular function suggested remarkable physiological specialization, allowing these wolves to sustain long chases over frozen landscapes, survive in sub-zero temperatures, and metabolize large quantities of protein and fat necessary for endurance. The study of this DNA also revealed evolutionary links to domestication events in early human history, suggesting that Pleistocene wolves may have interacted with humans, influencing early canid evolution, and perhaps serving as the ancestors of some modern dog lineages. Encountering a frozen Pleistocene wolf in the lab or field is to witness a predator preserved in the midst of a relentless struggle for survival. Every sinew, every hair, every tooth preserved in the ice tells a story of life at the edge of hunting strategies, social interactions, environmental adaptation, and evolutionary mastery. These wolves were not just carnivores, they were apex predators, integral to the steppe ecosystem, shaping populations of herbivores and indirectly influencing plant distribution and soil composition. The frozen specimens provide a narrative of ecological interdependence, resilience, and adaptation that can be studied with an intimacy impossible from bones alone. The Pleistocene wolf, preserved in ice, becomes a bridge across millennia. It allows modern humans to peer into the life of a predator that ruled the frozen plains, to understand not only how it survived, but also how it thrived, hunted, and interacted with other members of its species. It reminds us that the Ice Age was not only a time of massive herbivores, but also of highly specialized predators, perfectly engineered to endure and dominate a world far harsher than any ecosystem most species face today. In the frozen husk of the Pleistocene wolf, the past speaks directly to the present, revealing a creature that is at once fierce, intelligent, and hauntingly alive in the memory of the ice. Arctic ground squirrel, the tiny survivor of the Ice Age. Among the giants of the Ice Age, from mammoths to woolly rhinoceroses, one of the most astonishing discoveries lies in the diminutive form of the Arctic ground squirrel, frozen in time yet alive in detail, preserved in the permafrost of Siberia and Alaska. Unlike the massive herbivores and apex predators that dominate our imagination, these small mammals reveal the delicate intricacies of life that thrived in the shadows of megafauna. When the first frozen specimens were unearthed, researchers were struck by the extraordinary preservation. The squirrels' tiny bodies intact, eyes shut, limbs tucked in hibernation posture, and fur so fine that each individual hair could be traced, revealing patterns and coloration that hinted at survival strategies adapted to extreme cold. Unlike adult predators or grazing giants, these small mammals depended entirely on cunning, metabolic efficiency, and the precise orchestration of biological mechanisms to endure a world dominated by harsh climates and lurking predators. Frozen Arctic ground squirrels provide unparalleled insight into the physiology of hibernation during the Ice Age. Their bodies were discovered in dens beneath frozen soil, perfectly curled, with internal organs preserved sufficiently to analyze metabolic adaptations. Heart and lung tissues, though shrunken from freezing, retained microscopic structural integrity, revealing the animal's extraordinary ability to reduce metabolic rate to near imperceptible levels during months-long hibernation. Scientists discovered that these squirrels lowered their body temperature dramatically, allowing survival in permafrost conditions while conserving energy. Blood vessels in extremities, preserved in remarkable detail, showed adaptations for restricting circulation in extremities while maintaining core warmth, a strategy critical for life beneath ice and snow. The fur of the Arctic ground squirrel offers both functional and aesthetic insight. Dense underfur and longer guard hairs formed a natural insulation system, preventing heat loss in temperatures that could plummet below -40 degrees Fahrenheit. Coloration patterns, captured by the ice, revealed subtle stripes and mottling that served as camouflage against snow, ice, and rocky terrain. The preservation was so detailed that even the whiskers and tiny ear hairs were intact, providing clues to the animal's sensory perception. Researchers could trace the tactile hairs along the snout and legs, confirming that these squirrels relied on acute senses of touch and vibration to navigate their subterranean dens and detect approaching predators, including Ice Age foxes, wolves, and birds of prey. Inside the preserved digestive tract, remnants of seeds, roots, and small plants provided extraordinary insight into the Ice Age steppes microflora. Analysis revealed dietary specialization for hardy tundra vegetation, supplemented by occasional insects, allowing the squirrels to survive in a largely plant-based ecosystem with sparse nutrient availability. Microfossils, pollen, and even fungal spores embedded in the stomach and cheek pouches revealed not only diet but also the seasonal availability of forage, suggesting that these squirrels had highly organized foraging and storage behaviors. Some specimens showed evidence of cheek pouch use, packed with seeds and dried plant matter, indicating that these small mammals actively prepared for long winters in a manner reminiscent of modern ground squirrels. The skeletal preservation of the Arctic ground squirrel revealed adaptations beyond size and metabolism. Limbs were muscular relative to their small stature, optimized for digging extensive burrow networks beneath frozen soil. Claws, still sharp and intact, demonstrated their capability to excavate dens even in permafrost, allowing these animals to create insulated refuges for hibernation, reproduction, and predator avoidance. The skeletal structure of the forelimbs and paws showed an intricate balance of strength and dexterity, a design that enabled efficient digging without compromising speed for surface foraging or rapid escape. The discovery of frozen Arctic ground squirrels also illuminated aspects of reproductive behavior and social organization. Some specimens were found in clusters, suggesting communal hibernation, while others were discovered individually in smaller dens, indicating variation in survival strategies. Juvenile squirrels, preserved alongside adults, allowed scientists to study growth patterns, developmental stages, and the onset of hibernation behavior in young animals. These details painted a vivid picture of life on the Ice Age steppe from the perspective of one of its smallest yet most resilient inhabitants, demonstrating that even tiny creatures were highly specialized, adaptive, and integral to the ecosystem. Perhaps most remarkable is what these frozen squirrels teach us about ecological interconnectedness. While their size made them prey for many larger predators, their burrowing behavior significantly altered soil composition, facilitated seed dispersal, and contributed to the overall health of the tundra ecosystem. Each individual, frozen in permafrost for tens of thousands of years, tells a story of survival strategies, environmental adaptation, and evolutionary ingenuity. The Arctic ground squirrel stands as a testament to the overlooked complexity of small mammals in the Ice Age, reminding us that not all survival is dictated by size or strength. Sometimes intelligence, precision, and finely tuned physiology make the difference between life and death. In the quiet, frozen stillness of their discovery, these tiny mammals serve as a bridge between past and present, offering a direct glimpse into behaviors, anatomical adaptations, and ecological roles that have endured across millennia. Their preserved forms allow modern science to reconstruct not just the physical anatomy of the species, but also the subtle interplay between environmental pressures, predator-prey dynamics, and the astonishing adaptations that allowed life to persist on a frozen, unforgiving landscape. Through these small, frozen bodies, the Ice Age comes alive not only in the shadow of giants, but also in the intricate, remarkable survival of its tiniest denizens. Baby musk ox. The Ice Age nursery in permafrost. In the vast, icy reaches of the Arctic tundra, where blizzards sweep endlessly across frozen plains and the sun hangs low over an unbroken horizon, a discovery emerged that captured the fragility and resilience of Ice Age life. The baby musk ox, preserved in the Siberian permafrost in remarkable detail. Unlike the towering mammoths, formidable bison, or the fierce cave lions, these young musk oxen offered scientists an intimate glimpse into the earliest, most vulnerable stages of life during the Pleistocene epoch. When unearthed, the foal's small body was found curled delicately in a fetal-like position, as if resting beneath the protection of a mother who had vanished into time. Its soft coat, a mixture of downy underfur and emerging guard hairs, glistened faintly beneath the ice, and the tiny horns, still just budding from the skull, provided a hint of the formidable weaponry the adult animal would carry. Every detail, from the pads of the hooves to the fine whiskers along the muzzle, was preserved as if nature had pressed pause on a single, fleeting moment of life. The preservation of the baby musk ox allowed researchers to examine the complex interplay of anatomy and environmental adaptation at an early stage of development. Muscle fibers, tendons, and cartilage were frozen in situ, giving scientists unprecedented insight into the growth potential and structural design of the species. Even at a young age, the foal displayed a body built for endurance, with sturdy limbs and flexible joints capable of supporting its weight across icy terrain. The development of the shoulder and back muscles indicated early adaptations for both grazing and defensive posturing, preparing the animal to navigate a harsh environment where predators were numerous and winters were long and unrelenting. The lungs and heart, though partially shrunken from permafrost preservation, revealed organ systems capable of sustaining cold-adapted metabolism a testament to the evolutionary pressures faced by newborns on the mammoth steppe. The foal's coat itself told a story of survival in extreme cold. A dense, woolly undercoat insulated the animal against the Arctic chill, while the emerging guard hairs promised additional protection as the musk ox matured. Microscopic examination revealed that each strand of hair contained air pockets, enhancing insulation, while the arrangement of fur across the body suggested an evolutionary design for minimizing heat loss from critical areas such as the abdomen and legs. Scientists could even detect faint traces of environmental dust, pollen, and plant fragments caught in the fur, offering direct evidence of the flora that thrived in the Ice Age tundra and hinting at the seasonal conditions during the animal's final days. Inside the digestive system, partially preserved stomach contents revealed the diet of juvenile musk oxen and hinted at maternal care. Evidence of partially digested vegetation and traces of milk indicated a gradual transition from dependence on the mother's milk to foraging on tundra grasses and hardy herbaceous plants. This delicate dietary balance allowed the foal to survive in a landscape where nutrition was scarce for most of the year. Isotopic analysis provided further clues, showing that these young animals ingested the same nutrient-rich plants that sustained the herd during short summer periods, emphasizing the critical role of maternal guidance and herd protection in early life stages. The skeletal structure of the baby musk ox revealed additional adaptations essential for survival in the Ice Age. Limb bones were thick relative to body size, indicating early development of strength to navigate frozen and uneven terrain. Even the hooves, small yet fully formed, displayed keratinized pads adapted to grip ice and snow. Cartilage structures in the joints, preserved with remarkable clarity, demonstrated flexibility and shock absorption, which would have been essential for walking long distances alongside the herd in search of forage. Tiny scratches and abrasions on the limbs hinted at early exploratory behavior, possibly interactions with siblings or environmental obstacles within the den, offering an almost cinematic view into the foal's early life. The discovery also provided critical insight into herd dynamics and social behavior. Some specimens were found in close proximity to older juveniles or adult musk oxen, suggesting a family-centered social structure and communal denning practices. These clusters implied maternal care, protective huddling, and coordinated movement across the tundra, all critical to survival in a world dominated by Ice Age predators such as wolves and cave lions. Researchers hypothesized that these early social behaviors were not only essential for survival, but also shaped developmental milestones, teaching young animals how to forage, navigate, and avoid predation. The most striking about the baby musk ox is the profound sense of vulnerability preserved in ice. Despite its small size and fragile frame, this animal carried within it the blueprint for survival in one of the harshest ecosystems ever inhabited by mammals. Every muscle, tendon, and strand of fur speaks to the delicate balance of life, the meticulous evolutionary adaptations, and the intimate relationship between offspring, mother, and herd. In the frozen stillness of the permafrost, this tiny creature embodies resilience, the persistence of life in extreme conditions, and the intricate choreography of survival that defined the Pleistocene tundra. The frozen baby musk ox provides a bridge across millennia, connecting modern science to the earliest moments of Ice Age life. Its preservation offers not only anatomical detail, but also insight into ecological relationships, maternal care, and social behaviors, allowing researchers to reconstruct the rhythms of life on the tundra with extraordinary clarity. In this diminutive frozen form, we see the intimate story of a species finely tuned to survive, reminding us that the Ice Age was a world in which even the smallest creatures demonstrated remarkable endurance, ingenuity, and resilience. Giant elk, Megaloceros, the antlered giant of the Ice Age. On the windswept plains and frozen forests of the Ice Age, where permafrost preserves the whispers of a vanished ecosystem, one of the most awe-inspiring discoveries is the giant elk, also known as Megaloceros giganteus. These magnificent herbivores, sometimes referred to as the Irish elk, were not only colossal in size, but also adorned with antlers that could span over 12 feet from tip to tip, making them among the most visually striking mammals of the Pleistocene. When frozen specimens were uncovered in Siberia, complete with preserved bone, tissue, and in rare cases even patches of fur, scientists were struck by the combination of size, elegance, and extraordinary adaptation to extreme climates. Unlike the massive bulk of mammoths or bison, the giant elk possessed a lean yet powerful frame, capable of traversing both open steppe and forested areas in search of forage, while its enormous antlers served both as defense mechanisms and social instruments within the herd. The preservation of frozen Megaloceros specimens allowed unparalleled insight into the development and function of their remarkable antlers. The antlers themselves, partially calcified and sometimes covered in remnants of velvet tissue, revealed a sophisticated growth process fueled by rich nutrients, accelerated metabolism, and seasonal cycles. Microscopic analysis of the bone structure showed densely packed trabeculae, a design that combined strength with surprisingly lightweight construction, allowing the animals to carry enormous antlers without compromising mobility. Where patterns, fractures, and occasional scars indicated that these antlers were not merely ornamental, they were actively used in combat, for display during mating rituals, and in interactions with the environment, such as brushing against trees or clearing snow to access vegetation. The musculature supporting these antlers along the shoulders, neck, and upper back was extraordinary. Even frozen in permafrost, the preserved fibers, tendons, and connective tissues revealed immense strength and endurance, allowing the elk to wield and maneuver antlers efficiently during combat or displays. The skeletal structure beneath, including thick but agile limb bones, provided evidence of an animal built for both stability and agility. Despite their enormous size, adult males could reach nearly 7 feet. At the shoulder, the Megaloceros displayed adaptations for both sustained walking across vast tundra and sudden bursts of speed when evading predators such as cave lions, wolves, and humans. These preserved bodies allowed scientists to reconstruct not only the physical presence of the animal, but also its biomechanics, gait, and the coordination required to survive on the steppe. The fur of preserved specimens, though rarely fully intact, provided insight into seasonal adaptations and camouflage strategies. Dense underfur insulated against frigid temperatures, while longer guard hairs protected against wind and precipitation. Coloration patterns, inferred from remnants of pigmentation, suggested subtle shading that helped break up the animal's outline in both open plains and lightly forested areas. Even small structures like whiskers, ear tufts, and pads of the hooves were preserved in some specimens, allowing researchers to study sensory adaptations and thermal insulation strategies critical for survival in a landscape dominated by ice and snow. Inside the digestive tract, remnants of partially digested plant matter provided a direct window into the diet of these giant herbivores. Analysis revealed a mix of grasses, shrubs, and woody plants, reflecting seasonal availability and selective feeding patterns. Pollen trapped within the stomach contents offered clues to the surrounding flora and microclimates, while isotopic analysis revealed migratory behavior linked to nutrient availability and seasonal shifts. Some specimens even preserved traces of stomach parasites, giving a more complete understanding of health, diet, and the ecological challenges faced by megaloceros in the harsh Ice Age environment. The discovery of frozen juveniles alongside adult specimens shed light on herd structure and reproductive behavior. Like modern deer species, giant elk likely lived in loosely organized herds with complex social hierarchies. The positioning of juveniles in proximity to adults, sometimes found in partially collapsed dens or snow-covered areas, suggested protective maternal behaviors, cooperative herd movement, and strategies to shield young from predators. Analysis of growth patterns and bone development revealed rapid juvenile growth necessary to achieve survival size before the onset of winter, highlighting the interplay between environmental pressures, nutrition, and social care. Perhaps the most striking feature of the megaloceros is the interplay between majesty and vulnerability. While the antlers projected dominance and beauty, they also imposed constraints on movement in dense forest or when escaping predators, showing a delicate evolutionary trade-off between reproductive advantage and survival. Each frozen specimen, whether adult or juvenile, male or female, provides insight into these trade-offs, demonstrating the intricate balance of evolutionary pressures, environmental adaptation, and ecological interdependence that define the Ice Age steppe. Through the frozen bodies of giant elk, scientists can reconstruct a lost world where enormous herbivores roamed in herds, shaped vegetation patterns, influenced predator behavior, and left indelible marks on the landscape. Every muscle fiber, bone, and strand of preserved tissue is a narrative of endurance, growth, and adaptation, offering modern humans a profound glimpse into the scale, complexity, and majesty of Pleistocene ecosystems. The antlered giants, preserved in ice for tens of thousands of years, remain an enduring symbol of the ingenuity of evolution and the remarkable resilience of life, even in the harshest of climates. Tumat Pleistocene puppies, ancient canids preserved in ice. In the remote reaches of Siberia's frozen tundra, beneath layers of permafrost that have remained untouched for tens of thousands of years, scientists made one of the most extraordinary discoveries in the study of prehistoric predators: the Tumat Pleistocene puppies, tiny canids preserved with astonishing fidelity. Unlike solitary adult wolves or large predatory canids, these puppies offered an intimate, almost emotional window into the early stages of predator life during the Pleistocene epoch. Their small, curled bodies were often found buried in icy dens, paws tucked neatly beneath chests, snouts resting against the frozen ground, eyes closed as if in a deep slumber. Yet despite their diminutive size, the preservation was so detailed that whiskers, delicate paw pads, and even the soft cartilage of developing ears remained intact, frozen in time as if the ice itself had reached into the past to hold them in stasis. The significance of these discoveries went far beyond mere size. The puppies' bodies revealed crucial insights into the development, anatomy, and social behaviors of Ice Age canids. Muscle fibers, tendons, and ligaments preserved within the permafrost allowed scientists to study the early development of strength and mobility, showing how even in infancy, these animals were prepared for the physical demands of life in a harsh, predator-filled environment. Limb proportions and joint structures indicated that while still dependent on parental care, these puppies were naturally equipped for sprinting and ambush tactics, traits necessary for surviving alongside adult pack members in hunting and defense. The fur of the Tumat Pleistocene puppies offered remarkable information about thermoregulation and environmental adaptation. Dense, soft underfur insulated the puppies against bitter cold, while longer guard hairs offered protection from wind, ice, and snow. Even the fine hairs along the muzzle and ears were preserved, revealing tactile adaptations for detecting movement and temperature in a frigid landscape. Microscopic traces of dust, pollen, and tiny plant matter embedded in the fur provided evidence of the surrounding environment and prey species, offering a direct snapshot of the ecological conditions in which these puppies were raised. In some specimens, faint pigmentation patterns persisted, hinting at natural camouflage and social signaling within the pack structure, even at a young age. Perhaps the most astonishing discovery came from the puppies' teeth and jaw structure. While many were still developing, some teeth had partially erupted, revealing early patterns of predatory adaptation. Canines, sharp even in infancy, were designed to tear through flesh and crush bone, and where patterns indicated interactions with siblings, gnawing on den materials, and playful mock hunting behaviours that were crucial for developing hunting skills. The skull and facial structure, preserved in minute detail, revealed nasal adaptations for cold air, delicate auditory structures for acute hearing, and early eye development tuned for low-light hunting conditions, a suite of traits that would prepare the puppies for the complex social and environmental demands of Pleistocene survival. Inside the digestive system, traces of milk, partially digested meat, and small plant matter revealed weaning patterns, maternal feeding strategies, and early diet. These findings suggested that Pleistocene puppies were not entirely reliant on mothers for survival, but were gradually introduced to solid food within the den, learning hunting techniques from adult pack members. Parasites found in the digestive tract also offered evidence of the biological challenges faced by these young canids, including parasite-host interactions, immune system development, and the selective pressures that shape survival rates during infancy. The social behavior of these ancient puppies could be inferred from their frozen positions. Some were found in clusters, likely huddled together for warmth and protection, while others were positioned near adult dens, suggesting highly organized pack structures and cooperative care. This implied that Pleistocene canids relied heavily on social networks to ensure offspring survival, teaching young animals not only physical skills, but also social hierarchy, communication signals, and cooperative hunting strategies critical for long-term survival in a predator-dominated ecosystem. Perhaps most striking is the intimate sense of life captured in these frozen specimens. Each puppy represents both vulnerability and potential, a life on the edge of survival, preserved in exquisite detail by the ice. Every tendon, muscle, fibre, and whisker tells a story of adaptation, care, and evolution, bridging the gap between modern wolves and their Ice Age ancestors. These tiny bodies are not merely biological artifacts. They are a testament to the resilience of life and the finely tuned balance that allowed predators to thrive even in some of the harshest environments ever experienced by mammals. The Tumat Pleistocene puppies serve as a portal into the world of Ice Age predators, revealing the intricate interplay of biology, behavior, and environment. Through their preservation, scientists can reconstruct the earliest stages of life, the development of hunting and social strategies, and the survival techniques that would carry these canids into adulthood. In the silent, frozen stillness of the permafrost, these puppies whisper stories of a vanished world, offering humanity a glimpse into the delicate beginnings of life amid the colossal megafauna and fierce predators of the Pleistocene steppe. Cave hyena, the Ice Age predator scavenger. Across the frozen landscapes of the Pleistocene, From the icy plains of Siberia to the cavernous regions of Europe, the cave hyena, Crocuta spelaea, prowled as one of the most formidable predators of its time. Larger than modern African spotted hyenas, with powerful jaws, robust limbs, and a muscular frame built for endurance, these hyenas were apex predators and opportunistic scavengers rolled into one. Frozen specimens, some of which have been unearthed with astonishing preservation of fur, muscle, and even internal organs, offer scientists an extraordinary opportunity to study the biology, behaviour, and ecological role of a species that dominated Ice Age ecosystems. Unlike solitary hunters, cave hyenas relied heavily on pack coordination, social intelligence, and an uncanny ability to adapt to both hunting and scavenging in extreme climates, revealing a creature perfectly tuned to survive in a world of predators, ice, and scarcity. The skeletal and muscular structure of preserved specimens is particularly striking. Limbs were robust, with thick femurs and humeri capable of withstanding tremendous forces during running, hunting, and confrontations with prey larger than themselves. Shoulder and neck muscles were extremely well developed, supporting the massive head and jaws that could crush bone with ease. Analysis of fossilized tendons and ligaments indicates that cave hyenas were endurance runners, capable of chasing prey over long distances, while their claw and paw structures suggest adaptations for traction on ice, snow, and uneven terrain. Even in juveniles, the musculoskeletal development hints at rapid growth and early mobility, crucial for learning hunting behaviors and pack dynamics in a world filled with other apex predators like cave lions and wolves. The skull and dental structures tell a story of ecological dominance. Cave hyenas possessed enormous carnassial teeth, perfectly designed to shear flesh, and strong canines capable of breaking through thick bones to access marrow, an invaluable resource in harsh winters when fresh kills were scarce. Wear patterns on teeth indicate that hyenas engaged in intensive, bone-crushing behavior throughout their lives, allowing them to extract maximum nutrition from every carcass. Interestingly, the presence of certain healed fractures and enamel wear suggests intraspecific competition within the pack, fights over food, or encounters with prey during hunts. The jaw and temporalis muscles were exceptionally robust, giving these hyenas the highest bite force of any Ice Age mammal relative to body size, a feature that made them both feared predators and highly efficient scavengers. Fur and soft tissue preservation provide further insight into adaptation to extreme climates. Dense underfur insulated against sub-zero temperatures, while coarser guard hairs shielded against wind, frost, and snow. Pigmentation patterns, preserved in some specimens, suggest camouflage suited for snowy plains and rocky caves. Embedded environmental particles, such as pollen, dust, and plant fragments, provide direct evidence of the ecosystem the hyenas inhabited, revealing not only the tundra and steppe flora, but also potential prey species that coexisted in their range. Additionally, minor scars and fur abrasions on preserved specimens hint at aggressive interactions within the pack and encounters with prey, offering a rare glimpse into the daily challenges of life as a predator in the Ice Age. The digestive system, preserved in some remarkable cases, sheds light on feeding strategies and metabolism. Stomach contents from frozen hyenas have revealed partially digested bones, meat, and plant material, indicating a highly opportunistic diet that could adapt to seasonal availability. Analysis of intestinal tissue shows that cave hyenas were capable of digesting tough proteins and bone fragments, extracting nutrients efficiently in an environment where food scarcity was common. Parasites discovered in the intestines of frozen specimens provide additional insight into the biological pressures these animals faced, including disease exposure, immune response, and competition for resources within packs. Social behavior, inferred from fossil positioning and skeletal clusters, reveals a complex, highly organized structure. Cave hyenas were pack hunters, cooperating to take down large prey such as steppe bison and juvenile mammoths, while also scavenging from carcasses left by larger predators like cave lions. Juvenile specimens, often found near adult dens or huddled with siblings, indicate maternal care and social learning crucial for survival. Bite marks on bones suggest play, dominance interactions, and teaching behaviors, showing that these hyenas had sophisticated social structures comparable to modern relatives, albeit on a much larger and more formidable scale. Their intelligence, endurance, and cooperative strategies allowed them to thrive across vast ranges in the Ice Age, competing successfully with wolves, lions, and even human hunters. The ecological role of cave hyenas cannot be overstated. As both hunters and scavengers, they maintained the balance of predator-prey relationships, preventing overpopulation of herbivores while recycling nutrients through bone crushing and carcass consumption. Their presence influenced migration patterns of large herbivores, herd formations, and even the behavior of other predators. Fossil evidence of interactions with early humans suggests competition for carcasses, occasional predation on smaller groups, and a constant negotiation of survival across species. In essence, cave hyenas were apex ecological engineers, shaping Ice Age ecosystems with intelligence, strength, and adaptability. Perhaps the most remarkable aspect of frozen cave hyenas is the intimacy they offer with life tens of thousands of years ago. Muscle fibers, claws, fur, and teeth preserved in ice provide a near-living record of their biology and behavior. Every preserved specimen is a story of endurance, adaptation, and survival in one of the harshest environments Earth has ever known. These hyenas were not mere scavengers. They were sophisticated, highly social predators that combined intelligence, physical power, and opportunistic strategy to dominate Ice Age landscapes. Through them, scientists can reconstruct not only the anatomy of an extraordinary predator, but also the dynamics, struggles, and triumphs of life in a frozen world dominated by giants. Steppe pika, the tiny engineers of the Ice Age tundra. Amid the towering giants of the Ice Age, from woolly mammoths to cave lions, some of the most fascinating frozen discoveries are the smallest creatures that thrived in the harsh tundra environment. Among these is the Steppe pika, a tiny lagomorph uniquely adapted to survive extreme cold, relentless winds, and the frozen expanse of the Pleistocene steppe. Though diminutive in size, these animals were ecological powerhouses, shaping soil, vegetation, and the survival of other species through their complex burrows and foraging behavior. Preserved specimens, occasionally discovered frozen in permafrost, reveal the intricate anatomy, behavioral strategies, and environmental adaptations that allowed these small mammals to flourish in a world dominated by colossal herbivores and apex predators. The anatomy of the steppe pika is a marvel of evolutionary adaptation. Compact, rounded bodies minimized heat loss, while short, sturdy limbs were specialized for digging through frozen soil and creating extensive burrow systems that served as shelters from predators and harsh winter conditions. Preserved fur, dense and soft, insulated against sub-zero temperatures, while guard hairs on the back and sides provided additional protection from wind, frost, and drifting snow. In some specimens, subtle patterns of coloration are preserved, suggesting camouflage that allowed pikas to blend with snow-covered rocks, dried grasses, and steppe vegetation. Even delicate facial features, including whiskers, ears, and tiny claws, were frozen in place, offering scientists remarkable insight into sensory adaptations for detecting predators and navigating their microhabitats. Despite their small size, steppe pikas had a highly efficient musculoskeletal system. Strong forelimb muscles supported their digging behavior, while hind limbs allowed for rapid bursts of movement to evade predators. Fossilized tendons and preserved joint structures indicate an impressive combination of strength and agility, allowing them to navigate rocky outcrops, frozen soil, and burrow networks with ease. The paws, though tiny, were perfectly adapted for gripping and excavating, and in some frozen specimens, the claws were sharp enough to leave impressions in the permafrost, demonstrating both the precision and intensity of their digging behavior. The skeletal structure also reveals that steppe pikas were capable of impressive endurance, travelling across the tundra to forage while returning safely to their burrows before nightfall or predator encounters. The steppe pika's digestive adaptations reveal a creature perfectly tuned to survive on a sparse diet in one of the harshest environments on Earth. Fossilized stomach and gut contents have shown partially digested grasses, mosses, and other tundra plants, while isotopic analysis suggests seasonal foraging patterns closely aligned with plant availability. The pikas collected and stored vegetation in their burrows to last through harsh winters, effectively freezing food in advance, a behavior that demonstrates a remarkable understanding of environmental cycles. Teeth, ever growing and adapted for constant gnawing on tough vegetation, allowed steppe pikas to maintain efficient nutrition even from the fibrous, ice-hardened plants of the steppe. Preserved specimens also reveal cheek pouches and specialized jaw musculature that facilitated storage and transport of plant material, illustrating their role as master foragers in a frozen ecosystem. Burrow systems reveal the social and ecological sophistication of these tiny mammals. Excavations around frozen steppe pika remains indicate complex networks of tunnels, nests, and food caches, often occupied by multiple individuals. Huddling behavior, inferred from frozen clustering and the arrangement of burrows, suggests cooperation for warmth and predator avoidance. Pikas likely communicated through high-pitched vocalizations and scent markings, coordinating movements, warning of predators, and maintaining social bonds within colonies. The burrow networks had ecological implications beyond the species itself. They aerated the soil, influenced plant growth, and even provided refuge for insects and smaller creatures, making steppe pikas key ecosystem engineers despite their size. Predation pressures shaped both the behavior and physiology of steppe pikas. They were a critical food source for a range of Ice Age predators, including small raptors, foxes, and occasionally juvenile cave lions or wolves. Their rapid reproductive cycles, burrowing habits, and vigilant behavior allowed populations to remain resilient despite constant threats. Evidence from permafrost-preserved individuals suggests that even in extreme winter conditions, steppe pikas were capable of surviving through social cooperation, food caching, and physiological adaptations like fat storage and heat conservation. Finally, frozen steppe pikas offer scientists a unique perspective on the interplay between climate, ecology, and survival in the Pleistocene. While their bodies may seem fragile compared to the giants that shared their world, these small mammals played outsized roles in ecosystem dynamics, influencing soil composition, plant distribution, and predator-prey interactions. Every preserved fur strand, tiny claw, and burrow structure tells a story of resilience, ingenuity, and the delicate balance required to survive on the frozen steppe. In a world dominated by megafauna, the steppe pika demonstrates that even the smallest creatures can leave an indelible mark on the Ice Age environment, a testament to adaptability and the remarkable diversity of prehistoric life. Cave eagle, the sky apices of the Ice Age. High above the frozen plains and tundra of the Pleistocene, the skies were ruled by one of the most formidable raptors of the Ice Age, the cave eagle, scientifically related to Aquila chrysaetos, but far larger and more powerful than its modern descendants. Wingspans of up to 3 meters gave it the ability to soar effortlessly above the steppe, scanning vast landscapes for prey, while its massive talons and hooked beak made it an apex predator capable of taking mammals as large as juvenile bison or woolly calves. Frozen remains, fossilized bones, and occasionally preserved feathers provide an extraordinary window into its anatomy, behavior, and ecological role, revealing a predator perfectly adapted to the extreme cold, open terrain, and competitive predator guild of the Ice Age. The skeletal structure of the cave eagle demonstrates evolutionary perfection for predation in a harsh, frozen world. Wing bones, robust yet lightweight, supported massive flight muscles anchored to a deeply keeled sternum, enabling both rapid takeoffs and extended soaring across the vast tundra. Fossilized tendons suggest powerful wing strokes capable of sudden bursts of speed and agile maneuvering, essential for ambushing prey in open plains where cover was scarce. The pectoral girdle and shoulder joint show extreme flexibility, allowing the eagle to adjust its wings mid-flight with precision, a critical adaptation when swooping down on fast-moving prey such as Stepapicus or juvenile herbivores. Leg bones, thick and reinforced, were adapted to absorb the impact of striking prey from above, while sharp, curved talons were capable of piercing hide, gripping muscle, and immobilizing struggling animals. The skull and beak of the cave eagle reveal a predatory masterclass. Its hooked beak, powerful enough to tear flesh from frozen carcasses or living prey, complements its remarkable binocular vision, allowing precise judgment of distance and speed. Fossilized eye sockets indicate exceptionally large eyes, suggesting keen eyesight even in low-light conditions or during the long winters of the Ice Age when daylight was scarce. The jaw and associated musculature were equally formidable, enabling the eagle to crush bones and access marrow in times of scarcity. Wear patterns on preserved beaks suggest that these birds were both hunters and scavengers, capable of exploiting every available food source, from small mammals to frozen carrion left by larger predators or harsh winters. Preserved feathers provide further insight into survival strategies in freezing conditions. Dense down feathers insulated the eagle's body, preventing hypothermia during high-altitude flights or frigid storms sweeping across the tundra. Long, stiff, primary and secondary feathers enabled precise control of flight, essential for hunting, navigating, and conserving energy over long distances. Fossilized pigmentation patterns hint at camouflage, with darker feathers along the wings and back blending into rocky cliffs, sparse trees, or snow-dusted plains, while lighter feathers on the belly minimized shadow and helped conceal the bird from prey below. Even tiny feathers around the legs and head show adaptations for protecting extremities from frostbite, a critical feature for survival in the extreme cold. Behavioral patterns can be inferred from skeletal clusters, fossil nests, and preserved prey remains. Cave eagles likely maintained territorial ranges, patrolling expansive hunting grounds and defending them against rival eagles and other predators. Nesting behavior reconstructed from fossilized nest remnants and bone accumulations, suggests that they nested in cliffs or rocky outcrops, providing protection from scavengers and environmental extremes. Juvenile eagles, often discovered with partially developed feathers and underdeveloped wing bones, indicate a prolonged period of parental care, during which young learn to hunt, soar, and survive in a harsh environment. Evidence of prey remains near nests demonstrates both provisioning behavior and the ability to teach hunting skills to offspring. The cave eagle was not a solitary hunter in the strictest sense, but displayed complex interactions with other predators. Competition with cave lions, wolves, and hyenas was inevitable, yet the eagle's aerial advantage allowed it to exploit prey inaccessible to terrestrial predators. It scavenged carcasses left by larger predators, often tearing through frozen flesh to access high-energy tissues and marrow. Its ecological role extended beyond predation, influencing the behavior and distribution of small mammals, herding strategies of juvenile herbivores, and even the movements of larger predators. Through these interactions, cave eagles maintained balance in Ice Age ecosystems, occupying a unique niche as both predator and scavenger. Internal preservation in rare frozen specimens reveals astonishing details about metabolism, diet, and physiological adaptation. Muscles and organs frozen in situ indicate extremely high metabolic rates, necessary for maintaining flight in frigid temperatures. The heart and lungs, reconstructed from preserved tissue, suggest that cave eagles could sustain long flights while conserving energy, a vital trait for traversing the expansive steppe in search of food. Digestive analysis indicates they could efficiently process meat, bones, and even partially frozen carcasses, extracting maximum nutrition from every meal. Parasites discovered in the gut offer insight into the biological pressures faced by these birds, from disease exposure to challenges in nutrient assimilation, reflecting the harsh realities of Ice Age survival. The cave eagle's sensory adaptations were nothing short of remarkable. Its auditory structures, inferred from cranial morphology, allowed precise detection of small mammals rustling in snow or frozen grass. Its eyesight, fine-tuned for both low-light and daylight conditions, enabled detection of prey over kilometers, while its flight muscles and feather arrangement provided silent, rapid strikes. This combination of sensory acuity and physical prowess made the eagle a versatile predator capable of responding to environmental cues, avoiding danger, and seizing opportunities in a landscape where failure meant starvation or death. Fossil evidence and isotopic analysis suggest seasonal behaviors and migration patterns. Cave eagles may have shifted their ranges slightly during the harshest winters, following herds of herbivores or moving toward partially ice-free rivers and lakes where prey was more accessible. Nesting timing, aligned with prey abundance, ensured offspring had sufficient resources to survive. Juvenile learning, predation efficiency, and social interactions within overlapping territories demonstrate that these birds were intelligent, adaptive, and highly specialized, combining instinct, learned behavior, and environmental awareness. Perhaps the most fascinating aspect of cave eagles is the combination of power, precision, and ecological significance captured in frozen specimens. Every bone, feather, and talon preserved in ice tells a story of a predator perfectly engineered for survival, teaching, and ecological influence. They were not merely birds of prey. They were apex aerial hunters, ecosystem regulators, and masterful survivors in a landscape dominated by ice, giants, and extreme environmental pressures. Through the cave eagle, scientists glimpse the intricate balance of life in the Pleistocene sky, where flight, predation, and survival intertwined in a frozen yet thriving ecosystem. The cave eagle stands as a testament to the adaptability, intelligence, and power of Ice Age birds. An apex predator of the sky that shaped the frozen world from above. Its frozen remains are more than bones. They are a record of evolutionary perfection, ecological dominance, and survival against extreme odds. In studying this magnificent bird, we uncover not just the anatomy of a predator, but the very dynamics of Ice Age life, revealing a world where the skies were as fierce, competitive, and vital as the land below.